and welcome to Monza in Italy for the final race weekend in the inaugural Formula Master season. 2007 has seen the championship grow from early beginnings back in Valencia in Spain into a definite contender for one of the real proving grounds for young drivers. A brand new championship conceived as a support race series for the World Touring Car Championship. It was green-lighted towards the end of 2006, and a remarkable achievement to produce a grid full of competitive cars. Well, the championship was won last time out of Brands Hatch by the Belgian driver Jerome D'Ambrosio, but the battle for second spot is well alive. Chris van der Drift, the Kiwi stroke Dutchman, in second place, holding off Salvatore Gatto and the rest. And at the moment, van der Drift hoping for a good result here at a track that he's never raced at before. So to hang on to that runner-up spot in the championship. And there are a lot of different battles going on up and down the order in the series. As you can see, some of the point standings very close indeed. So a lot to be sorted out this weekend at Monza. And of course, the Italian Cathedral of Speed will produce no end of slipstreaming action for these identical cars. All the drivers with the same car, same tyre, same engine package. The difference is the engineering setup of it and the driver themselves. There in the stands you can see Johnny Cecotto, former World Touring Car driver, and he of course is the father of one of the drivers down on the grid. Johnny Cecotto Jr. will be having his final two races in the series here in Monza. Cars on the grid here at Monza for the penultimate race of the Formula Master Series 2007. You're looking there at Alberto Costa, the Euronova driver, who qualified in 8th place on the grid. The grid headed for the first time by a rookie, Danil Move of Russia, who has raced in, well, among others, World Series by Renault this season, has claimed a remarkably impressive pole position. A little further back, one of the drivers looking for a touch better luck this season from Jensen Motorsport. Rael Frey qualified 7th on the grid. We caught up with her after qualifying to get her thoughts on what she expects and what she hopes from this penultimate race of the series. First thing is to just want to survive the first corner, then the first lap, and after that, of course, the aim is to pass as many people as possible. So the Swiss girl, who has had good pace, but her share of bad luck this season, hoping to end with a flourish here at Monza. Well, they're starting the procedures to clear the grid. 5 minutes to the start of the race, and the grandstand's starting to fill up here. Of course, this afternoon we'll see qualifying for the World Touring Cars in the first of the two GT Open races, and Sunday morning we'll have Formula Master and the GTs, and then of course the two final European races of the World Touring Car Championship. The touring cars then move on to Macau for the final two races of the year. But this is then the last hurrah for Formula Master 2007, and everybody definitely hoping to end on a high. Here's the man who's 5th on the grid, Pablo Sanchez Lopez, and the Allen Racing driver saying, hoping to have a good weekend here. I believe I can win the race. We've got the potential, certainly. During qualifying, I had a lot of problems with traffic, but still managed to finish 5th, so just going to hope to have fun. Final race weekend, so I hope to enjoy myself. And hopefully they'll all be enjoying themselves on Sunday evening as well. Gala dinner to round out the season for all the teams and drivers, the sponsors, and that should be a good way to end the year. Looking down there at the man who lies 2nd in the points, Chris van der Drift. Well, van der Drift came out of the Formula Renault Euro Cup last year into a difficult start to the season, but he certainly has been working very hard. He's been very, very quick indeed, even if he's had to start from the back of the grid a couple of times, or pit lane starts. He's certainly produced some spectacular racing, but after qualifying 4th on the grid puts him right where he needs to be, really. Just behind the newly crowned champion, indeed, who is Jerome D'Ambrosio. As soon as I get on the track, I just like to go as quickly as I can, he says. Although I've already won the title in Brands, I'm here to do the best I can and to try and win.
No
disappointment, but I thought I could have gone a little better in qualifying, but third on the grid is still good. I'll be in a good position to try and win the race, and that's why we're here. So D'Ambrosio, crowned champion in Brands, which was really a little bit of a formality. He needed to have the ultimate nightmare weekend to lose the title there, and he has been very consistent indeed, which really reflects his experience, I think, in other categories before he came to Formula Master. But that's not to take anything away from him. He's claimed the title. But the man on pole position is a newcomer to the series, Russia's Daniil Mauve. And having come out of World Series, he's certainly got experience of a variety of different cars. He's raced Formula 3000 cars as well. And the Allen Racing team claiming pole position with the Russian. Mighty impressive rookie performance.
Now I will have fun tomorrow, and I will try just to take the points for my team. They're very important. I can tell you about the race, it will be very difficult. It's never like pole man is going out, you know, because the slipstream is giving a lot. So I know that tomorrow will be a very difficult race.
Well, no question about it. One of the features, of course, of this track at Monza is the long straights, which allow slipstreaming, and these cars do seem to be particularly adept at giving a tow. Live at Monza, ready for the start of the penultimate race in the Formula Master Series for 2007. The Autodromo Nazionale di Monza features rounds 15 and 16 of the inaugural Formula Master Series. And as the safety car sets off, hopefully all the engines should be running, and waiting for Daniil Mauve and the rest of the field to move away. There goes the pole man in the distinctive orange colours of Allen Racing. And the Russian driver will lead this field of 29 cars around. He is first on the grid, last after practice, the Finn Sami Isohello for Euronova. In fact, he was the fastest man in the opening couple of laps, but did not manage to do more than 4 laps. And so he's had qualifying problems. And like everybody else, of course, apart from Mauve, he'll be trying to pick up the order as they slipstream themselves around this circuit at high speed. Well, this is one of the features, of course, of Monza, the long straights, the high-speed element of the track. But then you have the chicanes. The first chicane, the Premier Variante, of course, very tight indeed. It's an almost exact 90-degree right-hander, followed by an even sharper left-hander. Then they sweep out around Curva Grande as the cars are coming towards you now. You're looking down the grid. Very fast, ballsy corner, and it's here that the drivers will try and line themselves up, if a good exit out of the first chicane, for an outbraking attempt into the Roggia. That's the second of the 2 chicanes here. And it's got a fast entry. Drivers can make mistakes, though, get it wrong going in, and give away a position on the exit. You can pass on the way in as well if you've got a particularly good run on the car in front. It's one of those places that you don't really want to be turning in wheel to wheel with somebody, though. That almost inevitably spells disaster. Then from the Roggia, sweeping on around the 2 Lesmo corners, 2 right-handers. And again, setting themselves up then for a run down under the old banking here at Monza, in the historic park, the Royal Park here in Monza. The 2 right-hand corners that let them sweep down then towards the Variante Ascari. They drop down under the old banking and pop back up into sunshine and through the trees, the open braking area into the Variante Ascari, which sets them up for the back straight, the run down towards the famous Parabolica. In fact, there's not a name, not a part of this track that's not famous. This is the run down then under the old banking, which all still exists. The whole banked oval that they used to race on from the 30s on still exists. Not the sort of track that you'd want to drive a modern car on, I have to say, but there it is right above them, sweeping through this chicane, or series of curves named after Alberto Ascari, of course. And again, another place that you can not only make up a place on the way in, but you can also set up a pass down the long straight that follows it, down the Rettifilo towards the last corner on the circuit. Very few corners here at Monza compared to somewhere like Brands Hatch where they were at last time, but they are all very substantial corners. And the Parabolica, very quick approach, quite a decent braking area at the end of this straight here, and that can allow a pass if you've got a very good run and you're feeling particularly brave. Slightly overcast here, a little bit humid, very humid air in fact, but decent temperatures for going racing. For these drivers it's going to be a fairly physical race. Cars coming round the Parabolica here at Monza, ready to head onto the grid for the penultimate race of the Formula Master Series 2007. They're being led by Russian Daniil Mouv, his first race weekend in Formula Master, and he claimed pole position for the opening race here at Monza. Well, he's got experience of a big, powerful World Series and Formula 3000 cars, but that has played very well into his hands. He's also got good experience of racing here at Monza, and that allowed him to make the most of his qualifying runs. He was always right at the top of the tree. Luca Persiani starts alongside him. Third place, Jerome D'Ambrosio, the newly crowned champion, with Chris van der Drift behind. Looking there at the number 15 car, Pro Motorsports, Salvatore Gatto, and they are now all at their grid spots, with Sami Isahella coming in from Euronova right at the very back of the field. Disappointment for him. Casper Anderson, you saw a flash of there as well, the Dane, down 21st place on the grid. Really had a shocking qualifying, particularly given his teammate Chris van der Drift is up in 4th. His other teammates have all out-qualified him. Casper Anderson 21st though, not a great position for him. Ready to go, good start from the poleman. Daniil Mouv straight away goes to close down Luca Persiani as the rest of the field sweep down towards the Primo Variante. The first chicane here, move over to the racing line, and it's Persiani who's got company from behind. They're 3 wide around the outside. That was Pablo Sanchez Lopez locking up wide on the outside now. Has he survived? He has. Nobody's gone off, amazingly. And Sanchez Lopez up into 3rd place ahead of Chris van der Drift. So that's a very good start indeed from the Mexican driver. 5th on the grid. We heard from him before the race saying that he just hoped to go out and do as well as he could here, maybe win the race. A little battles behind. Sanchez Lopez, van der Drift, and then Jerome D'Ambrosio. No, in fact, D'Ambrosio, I don't think is in 5th place. Somebody's lost part of their nose wing element in the Rogia. And pulling off on the side of the track, Nick de Bruin, or in the gravel, Nick de Bruin. De Bruin started 23rd, and broken front suspension. You see his right front wheel is clear of the ground, so the ISR drivers' bad luck continues. Daniil Mouv leads from Luca Persiani, you're seeing there, then Pablo Sanchez Lopez, van der Drift, then it is D'Ambrosio in 5th place. Van der Drift defending on the inside, but D'Ambrosio goes by anyway, so van der Drift making a mistake out of the Lesmos. Van der Drift loses a position as D'Ambrosio goes up to 4th. Nicola Molini, Alberto Costa, Salvatore Gatto, Marcello Puglisi and Rahel Frey make up the rest of the top 10. Side by side, Persiani with Sanchez Lopez sweeping around the outside, and that's very late into the Parabolica. Can he hold it? Yes, he can, but he really has to get off the gas just to stay on the track, and that allows Luca Persiani to come back at him. But Sanchez Lopez in the tow. This is going to be the way it is all the way through. If you never saw a Formula 3 slipstreamer in the 70s, then this is pretty much, I guess, what it might have been like. Lots of cars drafting each other all the way, and Daniil Mouv, despite what he was saying before the race that nobody's going to break away, has broken away. 2 seconds at the line, he should go clear. I don't think the drivers behind will work well enough together. As you saw, another pass there, Persiani just staying ahead of D'Ambrosio. Van der Drift got ahead of D'Ambrosio across the line. D'Ambrosio through Curva Grande on the inside, and he goes back in front. This is sensational stuff, and we've got another 11 laps of this to go after this one. Yellow flags are out. That's for Nick de Bruin in the gravel trap, so they all tuck back into line. Sanchez Lopez in 2nd place, Persiani in 4th now. Let's have a look at the start. Well, nothing too dramatic. Away went Daniel Move. He got hooked up really well. That's an impressive getaway for a driver making his first ever standing start in these cars. Very good indeed. Behind him, Luca Persiani having to defend hard. Big lock-up around the outside from Pablo Sanchez Lopez. And that was the move that allowed him to work his way up into third. Nick de Bruyn bounced out, and I think that was over the nose of Sami Isohela. Yes, it was indeed. With Dominic Mermans there, the blue and white car right behind them. And so de Bruyn, it's in fact broken left rear suspension. That's why the right front was clear of the ground. So lap 2 down towards Variante Ascari. What a great shot. I think the Worms have a great view here. Sanchez Lopez, the white car with the blue highlights. He's in second place. Then Van der Drift. Van der Drift's in third from Jerome D'Ambrosio. There's Raoul Frey in the middle of the battle. Now, she was 8th at the line, but I'm afraid their positions at the line may well bear very little relation to their positions now. Daniel Move is really starting to pull away from the rest of the field. Fastest lap, he had a gap of 2.1, is down to 1.8. Sanchez Lopez trying to break away. Jerome D'Ambrosio now up to third. Van der Drift fourth, but coming down his inside, Luca Persiani, the orange car, cannot get through. Marcello Puglisi, fastest lap of the race. The man in 6th place, trying to break away from the group behind. Oh, and Raoul Frey having a big wobble there and a huge lock-up behind. Somebody spun going into the Primo Variante. They sweep round Curva Grande down towards the Roggia. And the leader still trying to pull away. There's Sanchez Lopez second, D'Ambrosio third, Persiani around the outside, inside. He has to go straight across, doesn't pick up the place from Van der Drift. Let's have a look further back in the field. Monster lock-up. Raoul Frey goes right across the nose of Nicola Maulini, and I think that's done some fairly major damage to the Swiss girl's car as well. So expect to see Frey and Maulini both drop right down the order. Daniel Move leads. It was 1.8 at the line from Pablo Sanchez Lopez. Chris Van der Drift was third, but he's been squeezed down the order. Van der Drift is now fourth. Jerome D'Ambrosio there is third. Fifth is the man who started on the outside of the front row of the grids, the red car, Luca Persiani, just ahead of the fastest man in the race at the moment, who is the number 9 in 6th place, and that is Marcello Puglisi. Now the Italian has come up from 12th on the grid to 6th by the beginning of lap 2. So that's the end of lap 2, rather, beginning of lap 3. So he's really progressed very quickly indeed. He got a very good start, clearly. And as the leaders start to stretch out a little, Chris Van der Drift in 4th, being dropped away. So Pablo Sanchez Lopez checking his mirrors to see where D'Ambrosio is. D'Ambrosio doing exactly the same to see where Van der Drift has gone. And the gap was 1.7 at the line for the leader back towards Sanchez Lopez. D'Ambrosio in clean air without a battle on his hands is fastest at the moment. But there is the battle for 6th place. Puglisi trying to take it from Persiani. Well, those two raced in the Formula 3000 Master Series last year, and they had some good battles each. And here we go again now. Puglisi with the toe. Tried to go around the outside in Curva Grande, looking inside now, outside again. Oh, and that's very close indeed. And Persiani braked very late, too late in fact. And he picked up a place. He got ahead of Van der Drift, which he will not be allowed to keep. So he'll have to drop back, and he'll have to do it. He has dropped back behind Van der Drift. He'll have to do it artfully enough. He gained an advantage there in time, but no position. So I imagine he won't be penalised for that. After all, you want to see these drivers racing, but look at him now. He's right behind Van der Drift. So in fact, what was a desperate defence that went wrong and he ran over the curbs, he's now suddenly picking up a place, or having a look at picking up 4th place from Chris Van der Drift. Well, speaking to Chris's mum and dad in the paddock this morning, they were saying that they're reading the horoscopes. He's a Pisces, and apparently, oh, and that's Sanchez Lopez? No, it's not. That must have been a tail ender pulling off there, going very slowly. So yes, apparently it was a good day for Pisces in the horoscopes today, and I was saying to them, yes, of course, because horoscopes are always true, aren't they? Oh, that's awful. Retirement for Philippe Salaquadra, the second of the ISR cars out of the race. So they had already lost Nick de Bruyn on the first lap, and Salaquadra goes out as well. Van der Drift's 4th place under threat, and in fact he's lost it. And look for the leaders as well, they're closing up on Daniel Move. Jerome D'Ambrosio just 0.3 behind Pablo Sanchez Lopez for second at the line. Van der Drift's gone back down to 5th place. As far as runner-up spot in the championship is concerned, he doesn't want to lose too many more places either, because he needs to keep his advantage alive. Through the Roger they go, rattling the cars over the curbs as firmly as they can. And the JD Motorsport and Cram competition teams are both watching progress of their drivers. Now looking to see who ADM waiting for Norbert Siedler to come in for a new nose. And Siedler, former race winner, long way down the order here. Oh dear, and that's one of the Cram cars. I think that, and right at the back of the field, probably Samuel Isahela. It's one of the Euronova cars anyway. Might have been Pierre, was that Pierre Ragan? It was Johnny Cicotto Jr. Sorry, as I was looking down at my monitor, there you pick it up, Johnny Cicotto Jr. One of the cars off there. I think that might have been Pierre Ragan, the other Euronova driver. They started very close together on the grid, and Cicotto clearly out of the race. Dad here watching for the first time I think we've seen him all season. Gap coming down, don't forget it was our safety cars out. It was nearly 2 seconds earlier in the race after the first lap, and now down to under a second. And immediately Daniil Meuve starts to weave to try and keep some heat in the tyres. Well, you can see Cicotto's car there. Don't know which of the Euronova racing drivers that was. Let's see who's plummeted down the order. Well, Isahela and Cicotto both plummeting down the order, but they're not the only ones also plunging down the order. Juho Arnela, didn't see him in the gravel. But the safety car is out nonetheless after 6 completed laps at the end of lap 6 to clear up at least those 2 cars. We'll take a quick commercial break and come back, ready for the race to get underway once cleanup has finished here at Monza for race 15 of the Formula Master Series 2007. Safety cars out at Monza, 6 laps completed there on lap 7, coming down to the Variante Ascari. Daniil Meuve of Russia, the pole man, leads the field, and what was initially a 2-second gap has been closed down by Pablo Sanchez Lopez and Jerome D'Ambrosio, and in pure racing terms they were about 0.8 of a second behind. Now of course behind the safety car they are perfectly poised to try and pull alongside and pass the leader for the first time. Well, there is the remnants, or some of the remnants, of the number 23 machine. Sami Isahela of Finland, the man who started on the back of the grid in his Euronova racing car. Unfortunately making contact with Johnny Cicotto Jr., the 2 of them out. And there you can see Cicotto clearly of the opinion that it was not his fault. And for the Finn, it's been a bit of a disappointing weekend so far. Very disappointing qualifying. He was quick right out of the box, but unfortunately only got a total of 4 laps. And his fast lap was his first lap out of the pit, so 1 minute 50. Pole in the end went down to a 1 minute 46.5 second lap. So he was a long way off the pace by the end of qualifying, because he'd basically not done any fast running. So leaders sweeping through then. Daniil Meuve leads from Pablo Sanchez Lopez. Jerome D'Ambrosio is in 3rd place from Luca Persiani in 4th. Chris van der Drift in 5th. You saw there the number 4 machine of Oliver Campos Hull, the Spanish driver who is one of our race winners in Valencia, the opener of the season. Marshal's trying to make sure that nobody is interrupted in their progress by the flatbed trucks. Johnny Cicotto Jr. going back with his car as they head down towards the Variante Ascari. This historic circuit of Monza in the Royal Park. One of the features of the park is the bank circuit, the old bank circuit that, well, they bypassed and stopped using at the end of the 50s. And since then, This track has been the home of the Italian Grand Prix, and it is Italy's cathedral of motorsport. It's where they come to worship speed, and of course, particularly red cars going quickly. Monza is such a historic venue to come to for these drivers, most of whom probably weren't born when some of the great slipstreaming races of Monza happened pre-chicane days in the 60s and the 70s. In fact, all of whom weren't born. They will still have had a chance, most of them, to go out and have a look at the old track and just sort of imbibe a bit of the atmosphere here. And it is a very atmospheric place. You're in a huge wooded green parkland area. It's full of ancient trees, and when the engines are shut down, immediately you can hear the birds twittering, and there's wildlife everywhere you look. Quite a unique facility, Monza. And of course, everybody knows it for its flat-out speed and its big corners, the Parabolica and the chicanes, Curva Grande, the Lesmos. It's certainly a racetrack that people look forward to coming to. Like Spa, it's got that little bit of a mystique about it. It's where all your racing heroes raced. It's where great races are always remembered as having happened. Of course, Monza has had its dark side. Like most racetracks, drivers have lost their lives in the pursuit of victory here. But none of that here today. The lights out on the safety car. We're getting ready to go green again. Well, the lights seem to be off on the safety car, but in fact they're not, so they continue to clear up the accident between Johnny Cecotto Jr. and Sami Isohella down at the Variante Ascari. And given that the Variante Ascari is the return leg of the lap, that is still only turn 3, they call it. So Primo Variante doesn't count. I'm guessing then that the Roger doesn't count. The Lesmos, that must be turn 1 and 2, which is a very unusual way of looking at things. There's the first chicane. We're looking back towards it from the reverse of the direction of travel, of course, from Curva Grande. It's long, sweeping right-hander. And in the great slipstreaming days of the 70s, the first and second chicanes simply did not exist. They swept past the pits, straight into Curva Grande at unmitigated pace, sweeping around Curva Grande and then on to the Lesmos. Nothing between the Parabolica and the Lesmos to slow them down. But gradually, Grand Prix cars outgrew the track. When you think of the mid-60s and into the 70s, Grand Prix cars were producing around 450 horsepower with fairly, still in those days, rudimentary aerodynamics. But certainly by the time the wing cars arrived, when they were really going a lot quicker and getting a lot grippier, then there was a definite need to slow them down. Otherwise, the Lesmos was just become somewhere where you went spearing straight off if there was even the minutest problem with your line, your trajectory, the aerodynamics of the car or anything else. Well, the two wrecked cars have now returned into the pit lane. And so we should see the safety car being brought in this time round. It's been announced on the monitors the safety car will come in. The whole field sweeping around. You can see drivers pulling off the tear-offs off their visors and preparing to restart. And this is going to be real crunch time for the race leader as well. He's been clear of the field since the start of the race, and now he has got them all sitting right behind him. How will he deal with this? Well, you can see he's slowing right down compared to the pace of the Alfa Romeo pace car, and allowing it to go into the Parabolica and hopefully into the pit lane as he weaves side to side, trying to get some heat into the tyres. No standing on the brakes here, though, because he will inevitably be collected by the man behind. So here we go then, ready to restart. Here we go, they're starting again as Daniel Move, the race leader, rushes across the line. The race goes green once more. So the leader across the line, Pablo Sanchez Lopez, being attacked now for second place. Here comes Jerome D'Ambrosio, the new champion, looking down the inside. He's down the inside, he's got the line, he's got the position he needs, and that's a change for second. Chris van der Drift dives into fourth place to try and come around Luca Persiani. So Pablo Sanchez Lopez, the loser there, didn't restart well enough. Van der Drift with coming around the outside. Number 9, Marcello Puglisi, the man who started in 12th, looking for 5th place from Van der Drift after the start. Persiani got in front of the Dutchman, and Luca Persiani trying to come around him as they again get into the braking area for the Rogier for the second time. This time for 4th place, it's Chris van der Drift on the inside. Luca Persiani goes straight across the chicane. He holds on to 4th place. Van der Drift in 5th position. Dramatic stuff at the restart of this race. So Daniil Move holds on to the lead, and now there's a battle for second place. Through the Lesmos they come. Jerome D'Ambrosio in second with more blue on the car with the yellow mirrors. Third is Pablo Sanchez Lopez, and there is the number 18 machine of Alberto Costa, desperately trying to get onto the back of the lead group. It's Move from D'Ambrosio, Sanchez Lopez, then Persiani, van der Drift and Puglisi, and Costa there, the sole man trying to close in now. Not quite sure what was going on behind. Clearly Massimo Torre had a lot of defending to do on the opening forays, because he's dropped back and there are 3 or 4 cars behind him, and Sanchez Lopez has been very brave before into the Parabolica around the outside. This time the inside move works, because as he runs out of road he goes out to the outside. And now here comes Puglisi at the back of this shot as Jerome D'Ambrosio looks to try and catch up, and Daniil Move takes a long studied look at his mirrors. Puglisi comes around van der Drift and makes it up into 5th place. They fan out. Daniil Move's going to be very slow into the chicane, but it doesn't matter. He'll hold his lead. Sanchez Lopez back up to second. Jerome D'Ambrosio in 3rd place. 4th place, Luca Persiani. Van der Drift was 5th at the line, but he's now 6th behind Marcello Puglisi, and Costa still not quite close enough. Massimo Torre with Oliver Campos Hulsa, Salvatore Gatto, Raul Frey and Arturo Lobel all over the back of his car. And here comes the lead group, and as they come up to the Rogier again, Move under pressure. Well, Sanchez Lopez looks like the man most likely to win this race at the moment, but Daniil Move is doing a fantastic job holding on out front. Whoa! Rodolfo Avila on the outside could not find a gap to get back in, and skates off there at the Rogier. Daniil Move leading, Sanchez Lopez, the white car with the blue highlights in second. Third, Jerome D'Ambrosio, but he's under pressure from Persiani. Now the pass comes out of the Lesmos. He's got a very good run down into the Variante Ascari. He's just inching ahead, and the defensive line on the inside won't work for Daniil Move. Sanchez Lopez gets around. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. Fantastic stuff by the Mexican driver. What a great move. And suddenly Daniil Move is under real pressure, because behind him Jerome D'Ambrosio is undoubtedly going to pull out. Yes, he has already. Can't try and go around the outside. Persiani goes left. Salvatore, I beg your pardon, Daniil Move in the middle with Jerome D'Ambrosio on the outside. Luca Persiani on his inside. Didn't know which way to defend first. Here comes Puglisi and van der Drift. Fantastic subs. Sanchez Lopez leads. Jerome D'Ambrosio second. Everybody else is in third or thereabouts at the moment. Daniil Move. Persiani dives out to the inside. He's going very wide out to the penalty line. He's on the grass, but he's got the line for the chicane, but he can't use it. Oh! Wheel to wheel. Daniil Move just holds on. Phenomenal stuff. Daniil Move still third. Puglisi 4th. 5th place, Persiani under pressure. And that is from Puglisi there. No, he's not. He's got Torre in front of him. Massimo Torre did close into that little group. And Chris van der Drift looking on the inside as well. Every foray, though, he loses out. And another cutting of the chicane by Puglisi goes straight across. And there's another one behind as well. I think that was Raul Frey in this battle ahead of Salvatore Gatto. Juho Anala, in fact, has said may have been involved in the incident, brought out the yellow flags. He certainly was not. In the pit lane, one of the Allen's racing drivers. Let's see if we can go to page 2 of the screen quickly and find out who that was. Giuseppe Terranova, I'm thinking. Pablo Sanchez Lopez leads the race there, and there he is with Jerome D'Ambrosio all over the back of him. Daniil Move, the poleman, in third, really bobbling around on the way into the Ascari chicane, and that might cost him, I'm afraid, as they sweep out onto the Rettifilio down towards the Parabolica. Daniil Move under pressure from now, who's behind him? Marcello Puglisi. No, it's not. Puglisi back down to fifth. It's Luca Persiani again. He's got ahead of Puglisi at the Roggia. Well, they are spreading out a little now into lots of groups of battling cars, even at the back of the field. Matteo Pavoni picks up a place from Frankie Provenzano, and as the leader comes across the line, Pablo Sanchez Lopez under pressure for Jerome D'Ambrosio. They were just 3/10 apart, and he holds on. Jerome D'Ambrosio looks to the inside. He got a very good exit out of the Varianti. The Primo Varianti takes the lead for the first time. So our third different race leader is Jerome D'Ambrosio. Pablo Sanchez Lopez won't take that lying down. The problem here is if you're leading onto the straight, you're very rarely leading off it. You give away such a big toe with a car like this that the others can close up behind. It's not then taking candy from a baby. You have to work very hard for it, but you can work very hard for it indeed. So Jerome D'Ambrosio leading the champion. Second place, Pablo Sanchez Lopez. Daniil Move is now in fourth because up to third has gone Luca Persiani. Here comes Marcello Puglisi with the Italian tricolore on the upper body part of his car. Daniil Move deep down the inside defending. That's going to make him slow on the exit. And Daniil Move is in trouble, the orange machine. He's got Marcello Puglisi, and Puglisi is also in trouble. Watch for Chris van der Drift. He's the first nose to show. There he goes. No, that in fact, yes, that is van der Drift trying to come around Puglisi. Behind them are Costa and Torre. Massimo Torre right behind Alberto Costa. Van der Drift around the outside, gets by Puglisi. And Jerome D'Ambrosio, the leader, might have a 3 or 4 tenths gap of the line, and he's going for the second one. Chris van der Drift said, well, the straight's long enough. You can almost hop 2 cars as you go by. Let's see if he can manage it. He's trying to come around Daniil Move for 4th place, but Puglisi's got a good toe on both of them, and Puglisi goes by. Van der Drift's got the inside line. Daniil Move locked up heavily under braking, touches Puglisi, and they're all behind. Wow, Frey, where did she come from? She's come all the way, leapfrogged up the order there. The Swiss girl is like a small capacity motorcycle race. It's like watching the 1-2-5s leapfrogging along the queue. Rahel Frey crossed the line in 9th place. And I think she's 6th now. Jerome D'Ambrosio still leads from Pablo Sanchez Lopez. 3rd is Luca Persiani. 4th, Chris van der Drift at the line. He was in 5th position behind Daniil Move, but Move now shoved to the back of the lead group, and he's trying to hold off this lot. 1st and 2nd, D'Ambrosio, Sanchez Lopez. There in 3rd is Persiani. 4th and 5th, Van der Drift and Puglisi. 6th place, Daniil Move. 7th then is Rahel Frey. 8th place is Massimo Torre. 9th place behind Torre is trying to make out Alberto Costa, and in 10th place is Arturo Lebel. Fantastic racing. Look at them fanning out on the grass, on the rundown, on the driver's left between the second of the Lesmos and the Varianti Ascari. Now, Jerome D'Ambrosio trying to break the toe. 1 move, 2 moves on the straight. That'll do. Sanchez Lopez is very close indeed. He's not close enough to go for the inside into the Parabolica, but the last lap, has he got enough to take him at the line? It's going to be very close. Jerome D'Ambrosio, the newly crowned champion, or Pablo Sanchez Lopez. Lopez not close enough. The checkered flag waves. The finish line is very close to the exit. Jerome D'Ambrosio wins. 3rd place for Luca Persiani. 4th for Chris van der Drift, where he started. 5th for Marcello Puglisi. Then Daniil Move, the poleman, in 6th. Puglisi got him in the final corner. Celebration from the Cram competition drivers as they fly across the line faster than you can say their names. What a great, great race. 1970s slipstreaming Formula 3 is back, courtesy of Formula Master. What stunning racing. More lead changes in a lap than a Formula 1 Grand Prix gives you in an entire race. Stunning. And that's not even remotely counting all the rest of the battles down the order, but the lead group constantly changing. In one set of positions across the line, a completely different set of positions by the time they got to the Roggia. And what a celebration there. Jerome D'Ambrosio, victory there, fantastic for him. Confirmed as the champion at Brands Hatch, and he claims the penultimate win of the year. The Cram competition team very happy indeed, and why wouldn't they be? Breathless stuff. I can't imagine what it would have been like to watch a Formula 3 race and listen to an Italian circuit commentator in the 70s desperately trying to get the names out as fast as he possibly could. Well, Marcello Puglisi there, the number 9 machine. In the end, he finished in 5th place. Very good racing from him. Puglisi qualified in 12th and at one stage was as high as 3rd. So he just got shuffled down the order in the last couple of laps. So Jerome D'Ambrosio, Pablo Sanchez Lopez, Luca Persiani are podium, with Chris van der Drift in 4th, doing an awful lot to secure a runner-up spot in the series. Dramatic 15th and penultimate race of this Formula Master Series 2007, the first of 2 at Monza, and what a mouth-watering prospect the second race is, because inevitably at every race weekend we've had this year, the first race has been a little tame compared to the second, because everybody's worried a little bit about keeping the car in one piece for the remainder of the weekend. There you see Pablo Sanchez Lopez, the man who believed he might have had a chance to win the race. He did have a chance to win the race. Anyone in the top 12 had a chance to win the race. Sanchez Lopez for Allen Racing, though, taking 2nd place at the line. He'll be one of the first to congratulate Jerome D'Ambrosio. And have any of these drivers ever been in a race quite as dramatic as this? I think they might be hard-pressed to remember it in terms of passing. Yes, well done, baby. Well done, baby. Good stuff for Jerome D'Ambrosio. I tell you what, every single one of them who got to the line knew they'd been in a motor race. This was not a tedious trudge on your own around counting the laps down. Fantastic stuff. So the Belgian wins again. Congratulations to him from the men behind the Formula Master project. And congratulations to them. I think there was a degree of scepticism. I have to say, I wondered exactly how well the championship would work, but they produced cars that have been, for the greater part, very reliable and very close. They respond well to what the drivers are asking of them, and it has proved to be a very entertaining series. Very entertaining indeed. We've got one more to go as well. So Luca Persiani in 3rd place, Pablo Sanchez Lopez in 2nd, and here our winner Jerome D'Ambrosio. There's 1st and 2nd going. Man, what a race. Everybody with a story to tell. Fantastic stuff. I mean, some of the drivers might be questioning what's going on. You saw Chris van der Drift in the background, but let's get to our leader, Jerome D'Ambrosio, get his thoughts.
Jerome D'Ambrosio, your first race as current Formula Master champion, and then such a celebration, a perfect race.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I had a good start, but the first corner, which was my bad, and but I stayed cool. We had a problem also before the start. I couldn't start the engine, so everybody was a bit nervous, but I managed to stay cool. And fantastic race. The car was very good. And here you have to, it's really a strategy race, because even if you're faster, as I think I was in the end, you can't go away. It's very difficult because of the slipstream, and it was fantastic with Pablo. He did a very good race, and it was very good fun. Enjoy it. Now first race as a leader and win it is good. It's good for the statistics. I mean, I think I deserve it. It's 5 victories. Is by far the bigger number of victory for a driver here in the championship. So it's very good. Now keep on working, and we'll see what's happening in the future.
Thank you and congratulations.
Great job, and as he said, a great race as well for all of them to have enjoyed. Danil Move, the Russian, who started on pole position, but Jerome D'Ambrosio setting the fastest lap of the race on lap 4 before the safety car to close up on the leading group after he'd been shuffled down the order. Then a good battle between him and Pablo Sanchez Lopez. Mistake by the Mexican driver after the safety car period to go into the Roggia behind Jerome D'Ambrosio. And as you said, win number 5 of the series, more than anybody else comfortably has won so far. And that's again another feature of the Formula Master Series, is it's so hard to predict, even looking at the grid, who's going to win the races. So will he be able to round out his season as champion with another win in the finale? We can only wait and see. But I have to say, on his performance today, it's going to be very hard to put money against him or pretty much anybody else in the top 8 as well. I think all of them could have done it. But fastest lap of the race and victory, number 5 of the series for Jerome D'Ambrosio. So Chris van der Drift now 9 ahead of Pablo Sanchez Lopez. That runner-up spot in the championship is definitely in the balance. Sanchez Lopez here 2nd, van der Drift 4th. So the Mexican driver closing the gap on the Dutchman. And that will be one of the features of tomorrow's race. Who finishes as the series runner-up to our champion, Jerome D'Ambrosio? So that's it for now then from Formula Master at Monza. Hopefully another slipstreaming, larynx challenging battle tomorrow to enjoy the final race of the year. And of course we have the GT Open tomorrow. We also have the GT Pro-Am this afternoon, as well as qualifying for the World Touring Car Championship. Stay with us on Eurosport for more action from Monza. Till then, from me, Martin Haven, it's bye for now.